Greetings, programs! Welcome to a bit of World of Tanks action. Today, courtesy of Oberst 1990 here in the Sturer Emil, also known as Saint Emil, the patron saint of gun depression. Yes, this thing gets an amazing 15 degrees of gun depression. Would that the rest of it was quite so amazing, however. This thing is considered by far the weakest point of the entire Waffenträger line. It's got an amazing gun for its tier with that amazing gun depression, but the rest of it, not quite so much. Not quite so much. I think one of the biggest counts against it, well, probably the two biggest counts are the incredibly narrow gun traverse and also the very limited ammo count. As you can see down there at the bottom, it gets 15 shells with the top gun. Just 15. Now, it's a really great top gun. It actually is, it's almost kind of like... It's not quite like the ISU being at tier 8. It's not quite that good of a gun for its tier, but it's still a really good gun for a tier 7 tank destroyer. But you pay the penalty for that with such a limited ammo count, so you have to make every single shot count. You don't even get premium ammo, although looking at the stats of the regular ammo, it kind of seems like premium ammo would be overkill. Not that that stops the ISU getting premium ammo at tier 8, so I'm not quite clear on Wargaming's logic there. It's fine for the ISU to have premium ammo, but this thing, no, it would be overpowered if it had premium ammo, because the ISU, on the other hand, is completely fine, yes. Anyway, so he's setting himself well back from the action, and, well, I can't really blame him on this thing, because it doesn't react quickly, and you can see the amount of, like, just the narrowness of this traverse. It's like a French tank destroyer. It's not good. It's really not good. But if you do get the chance to hit something, and as you can see it's aiming very carefully, although not quite carefully enough, you could have maybe let that aim just slightly longer, then it does hit very hard. Now this is an assault game, so it's a shorter game than usual. It's a 10-minute counter, and he's on the defending team. So if his allies stay alive, it should be fine. He can sit back here. If the enemies try and peek over on this side, he's got a very good range of fire here. And it's the Cheeto, but the Cheeto actually doesn't continue on his... he sort of changes direction, reverses, and that's another shell wasted for no damage. So that's... It's not a great start, to be honest. It's really not, and he's probably going to regret that later on. However, here's another target, IS-3, and again having to turn and turn and turn. And as with the French tank destroyers, every time you turn, of course, that makes your reticle bloom out just that little bit more. So it's really frustrating. Hell, the Churchill gun carrier is exactly the same thing, same way as well. It's just got that combination of stats that just... Yeah, I don't like that in a tank destroyer. I really don't, and I'm not quite sure how I got through the French to the tier 9. Once you get to the Foch, it's not so bad. In fact, the AC-48 was alright as well, but at least I thought so. I know that's not the most popular machine, but I think this would drive me crazy. I mean, at least it's quicker than the Churchill gun carrier, which has that narrow traverse, and it's also slow and hideously unarmoured. Well, this is also kind of unarmoured actually, but unlike some of the other Waffenträgers, it's not quite as vulnerable to HE, at least frontally, because it's got more armour than you would think, but it's still not a great amount. Now, again, another shell wasted. That's 3 shells for no damage. That one, however, does find its mark. The Churchill was tracked, so that was a nice kill. So he's done now just under 1,000 damage, but he's now down to 9 AP shells, and he's got 1 HE shell as well. So he actually decides to, it looks like, help out his allies. Although he's a bit concerned clearly about the IS-3 popping out and maybe shooting him in the side. But no, he decides to put this gun depression to use and actually be a little bit more offensive. And in this kind of situation, I mean, this is a reasonably fragile tank destroyer, but because there are so many allies around, he feels confident doing it. Now, the T-44 pulled back just as he pulled the trigger on that shot, so that's another shell gone with no damage. The T-34-3 has gone in completely gung-ho, and he's actually getting fairly trapped in the process, unfortunately. And the fact that it's a tier 6 tank destroyer that's like, he's just thrown his tank away, and that's the tier 6 tank destroyer isn't even dead. So 20 health, yeah, Oberst had to take the shot. He couldn't leave that guy alive, but that, because you've got such limited ammo, when you have to take those kind of shots, it just feels like such a waste. Anyway, he's almost ready for another shot on the T-44. Could have maybe taken the guy out if he'd reacted a little bit quicker, but again, that narrow gun traverse really working against him. So now he's actually got to drive forwards, and unfortunately, doesn't take any extra damage in the process. That actually bounced. Probably it hit his gun mantlet, but I'm not sure. But either way, having more health at this stage, very, very useful indeed. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is getting severely damaged, and there's the IS-3 again, and he gets the kill, which is very useful. But the enemy team has been really whittled down in the process as well, so it's not been a one-way fight at all. This has been a really tough fight for both teams. But the enemy team are now basically almost able to have control of the cap. So, with the Carnarvon, not the Carnarvon, the Jagdpanzer, no, yes. No, wow, I'm getting so confused. The Jagdpanzer 4, the friendly Jagdpanzer 4 dying. It's now just Oberst, a T-44 and artillery. The T-44, as we can see, is about half health. And of the enemy tanks left alive, well, the KV-3 is probably the best armoured target. But, I mean, as long as you know where to shoot a KV-3, the armour's not that great. There's also a Cromwell and a Tiger, and the Cromwell could be a threat, and the Tiger, well, actually, he's there. And if Oberst can make this shot count, that was a nice hit, not enough to kill him, but yeah, still, that's useful. So that leaves the Tiger easily a one-shot. And it also means he's not really supporting the KV-3. Artillery, meanwhile, is driving forwards to, it looks like derp the KV-3 in the face, or at least try and get behind him. Oberst, meanwhile, tries a blind shot on the Tiger, which I don't think was a good plan, because he's now only got 2 AP shells left and 1 HE. And there goes the T-44. So again, a low health target, and he actually makes sure he's going to hit this time. He's also now really going to wish he had that extra shell. He does not have enough shells left to kill the remaining enemies. Artillery is still alive, but the T-44 has died. So if Artie can take out, say, the Cromwell, then maybe... Well, actually, not even then. He's only got 1 AP shell for this KV-3. He'd have to then get like an ammo rack or something. So this is not looking good. This is really not looking good. And as we can see, the Cromwell is coming in at the Artie from behind. And Oberst is trying to get behind the KV-3, but yeah, unless he gets really lucky, he's not going to kill the KV-3. Now, he could maybe have taken a kill shot on the Cromwell, instead put it into the rear of the KV-3. Maybe he was hoping for an engine fire or something. Yeah, it could have happened. It's all in the hands of RNG, but he's now down to 1 shell, though. It's an HE shell, which he might take out the Cromwell with, but the KV-3, no. So he's alone. And surely stuffed. This is 2 versus 1. He's got no turret. He's got 1 shell. He does have a decent amount of health, but, I mean, yeah, it's not looking good. It's really not. Now, the KV-3 puts one in, and that doesn't look like the big gun. Not sure. It could have been a low roll on the 122, or he could be using the 107mm. I'm actually grinding up through the KV-3 myself now on the NA server, and it's basically a longer looking T150 with a stock turret. And the gun's not bad for a tier 7, but it's still just seeing VKBs and E75s and some of the other tier 9s in your tier 7. It's not fun. So there's the Cromwell, takes his tracks. Oberst immediately repairs, but the Cromwell then sets him on fire, but his auto fire extinguisher then takes that. This looks like it's all going to be it, and then that happens. Yeah. And now it's 1 versus 1. Whoops. That was a certain thing. The Cromwell was going to kill him for sure. He's down to 95 health. Easy one-shot kill for the Cromwell. What does the KV-3 do? Team kills. Yes, this may, in fact, be World of Tanks. That's his last shell gone, by the way. No fire on the KV-3 or anything like that. However, there's 1 minute to go. All he has to do is live for a minute, and it's actually quite lucky that it's the Cromwell that's dead, because this would not work against the Cromwell. Cromwell could easily outpace you around this wreck, this rubble, this ruin. However, the KV-3 cannot. The KV-3, especially if he's got his stock engine, is quite a sluggish beast. So, literally, All Oberst has to do is just drive around and live, and he wins. So this is how you win a game. This is how you win a game when there's multiple enemies left alive and you have no ammo. So, yeah, now you know. You just need this exact set of circumstances. You need somebody who will team kill the second last enemy, and you need that last enemy to be sluggish, and you need a building to hide around, and yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So, that was an ace mastery. He also got the lucky medal because he had that Cromwell basically killed right in front of his face. The enemy team had it in the bag. And then that KV3 got a little bit impatient, tried to get the kill, and ended up giving the game away. And I think that's just hilarious. So, despite the missed shells, the ones that didn't do anything, he still did a very respectable 3,200 damage. He got 5 kills, 1,200 base XP. So, it was a pretty good result, as you can see. Everything that actually hit something, penned. The only ones that didn't... well, actually, no, that's not true. The HE shell, of course, just, exploded on the outside and did, 60 damage. But of the AP shells, all the ones that hit actually did pen. Because this gun, in theory, is a really good gun. But, of course, he missed a couple. And I bet he really wished he'd had those shells at the end there. So, yeah, the Sturer Emil. It doesn't have a lot of fans. And maybe you now have a slightly better understanding of why. But still, that was a very amusing match, and I hope it was amusing for you guys to watch as well. So, if you enjoyed this, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can sub to my channel if you aren't already, and, as always, stay tuned for more.